Okay, guys, we are back, and this is going to be a troubleshooting video. Okay, looking at this topology. Okay, if you've seen the previous videos, we got successful pings, but just taking a look at a deeper dive, I ran into some issues with the configuration, and I thought that this would be a perfect video to go ahead and highlight how to remedy some situations. So, the first thing I want you to look at. Okay, the first thing I want you to look at is just looking at this as it is right now. And if I were to tell you, do you see any potential issues if we were to use static NAT or dynamic NAT? So, once again, if we were to use dynamic NAT or static NAT, could you see any potential issues with this topology? Okay, and I'm going to give you the answer in the next few seconds coming up. So go ahead and pause this video if you want to take a deeper dive and see what could potentially be the issue. Okay, so the issue, guys, is right here. This right here. Okay, 1.1.1.0/30. Well, I'm going to show you that this particular topology is not an issue for PAT. It could be an issue for static NAT and dynamic NAT. Remember, static NAT gives us a one-to-one mapping, okay? And this /30 is basically telling us we only have two available IP addresses, and we're using that IP address on this interface, and we're using that IP address on this interface. Hence, we have an issue if we want to use static NAT or dynamic NAT because there's no more IP addresses, public IP addresses available with this configuration of the /30. Same thing goes for dynamic NAT. Because dynamic NAT, you're using public IP addresses to go ahead and have the mapping. Okay, you're using a pool of public IP addresses. You don't have a pool if you don't have any water. In this case, we ran out of all the public IP addresses. Henceforth, static NAT and dynamic NAT would be an issue. Okay, so that's the very first thing here. We only have two available public IP addresses. Now, when we go into a router, okay, and I go to show run, okay, what we're going to highlight is this right here. Okay, taking a look at this right here. Okay, do you see the command that is problematic? Okay, do you see the command that's problematic? Pause this video right now because I'm going to give you the answer in the next few seconds if you want to go ahead and quiz yourself, so to speak. Okay, and the first thing is, guys, this right here, access list 1 permit 10.0.0.0 with the wildcard mask of 0.255.255.255. There's nothing wrong with that. We mentioned before the access list is basically going to be a representation of the private IP address, which is going to be the private IP address that's actually configured on the PC. So there's actually nothing wrong with the access list command here. The IP route, there's nothing wrong with the IP route here. IP default gateway 1.1.1.2, nothing wrong with that here. So when we get to the next two commands here, IPNAT inside source list 1 pool pat overload, technically there's nothing wrong with that command in it of itself. The problem and the issue is going to be IPNAT pool pat 10.0.0.1. This network is a private network. And if you can see, our configuration right now is private and private. Our configuration when it comes to network address translation has to be private to public. Remember, you're bridging both the private and the public together in order for you to utilize more public, more IP addresses. So in this case, our pool is configured as our private when our pool has to be considered as our public. Now, I'm going to show you guys how to remedy this situation. We're going to go to config T. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this command, no IP NAT inside source list 1 pool pat overload. Okay, so we're going to do a little copy and paste here. So we want to get rid of that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this. Okay, so we're going to go to no, let's go ahead, IP NAT pool pat 10.10.10.1, so on and so forth. Let's exit out of here. Let's do a quick little show run, make sure that it went through, and voila, we got rid of it. Now, I'm going to show you how to fix this command or how to fix this network with just one command. So we're going to go to config T. We're going to go IP NAT. Okay, IP NAT inside. Okay, we're going to go to source. Okay, we're going to go to list 1. Okay, because that's our private IP address, our list 1. Okay, we're going to go to, instead of creating a pool, remember, we can't create a pool right now because we're out of our public IP addresses. What we're going to do is we're going to attach it to the interface, this interface right here. So watch and check this out. Interface gigabit 0/0/1. This is the outside interface. It's 0/0/1. We're going to go, don't forget, we need our overload command. Okay, anytime you're working with PAT, make sure you use your overload command. We enter. We're going to exit. Okay, we're going to go ahead and exit, and let's go to show IP NAT translations. Look, at when we run the command, there's nothing there. Let's go back to PC3. Let's go to the command line. We're going to ping 2.2.2.1. Okay, so we're pinging 2.2.2.1, which is our server over here. And looks like we got a request timed out. Let's go ahead. This ping should be successful. And voila, we have a successful ping. Okay, let's use this computer as well to go ahead and start pinging. So we're going to ping 2.2.2.1. So we got a reply. Let's use this computer as well. Let's go ahead and ping 2.2.2.1. Okay, we got a reply. Why not? Let's do another one. For giggles, ping 2.2.2.1. Okay, and we got a reply. Let's go back to our router. We're going to run the same command, show IP NAT translations, and voila. Look at the difference. Okay, hopefully you guys saw the previous video, but look at the difference in this situation. You have your inside global. Inside global, remember, is your public IP address. It's the address that you're using to show the world. Okay, it's the public IP address that you're using to go ahead and navigate through the internet. Your inside local is the actual IP address that's configured within your local area network. So remember, in this situation, we're leveraging private IP addresses via port address translation. Okay, port address translation in order for us to go ahead and have more end host. Okay, outside local, outside global, generally speaking, that doesn't really change. It does change, but like I've said before, and I've heard it before, it rarely does change. The critical thing here is just realizing what your inside local is and what your inside global is. Inside global is our public IP address. Inside local is going to be our private IP address. So hopefully you guys learned a couple things from this video, from the troubleshooting. If you have questions, comments, and concerns, please feel free to ask.